Hello and welcome to Baited Expectations. I'm piebypie and I have with me KittenCatNoodle, Velyna and Brittleknee. For this episode, we're so excited to dig into GGG's livestream reveal of Ultimatum League, Path of Exile 2, and the changes we can expect in 3.14. Before we get into it, now's a really good time to like, comment, and subscribe, so if you're enjoying the podcast, you won't miss the next one. But let's catch up with everyone else really quickly. What have you been up to lately? I know BK has something amazing that she's done, so I'd really love to hear from her first.
So, we've basically paved the way for people to be able to submit runs to GDQ now to be part of the SGDQ 2021. So we had a showcase where we were on the Hotfix channel under the Community Spotlight show. We worked with one of the GDQ people, and we were able to show from the ground up everything that goes into PoE speedrunning and racing, because there's a lot of overlap between the two. And it was really, really cool. The feedback overall was very, very positive. People were excited to see PoE on GDQ finally. And yeah, so moving forward, we might be able to be part of the big leagues in concern of that. And I'm hoping in turn to dedicate my time to rounding out the speedrunning community. For Path of Exile, I'm planning on running a 5-week season and a bunch of other stuff. We're working on some tools and other development as well. So that's my focus for now. And yeah, it was an awesome event.
Congratulations. That's a huge achievement. And we're so proud of you. I'm sure that you guys are also proud.
Yes.
Noodle, what have you been up to lately?
Well, it's about time where League winds down for me, take a little bit of a break. I tried playing Pathologic for a bit, but that's the most stressful game that I've ever played, and it's very hard to stream because it's way too much reading and not a lot of dialogue. So I've been playing Garden Paws, it's my go-to. I also popped my own neck on stream and took myself out for a couple days. So, I've been chilling, thinking about my choices in life and excited for the new league and PoE2 info.
Yeah, we'll get into that really shortly. Belle, are you able to talk?
Yeah. For a second it popped off and I was like, oh, I have a fire alarm currently going on in my building. So that's been pretty fun right now. It's stopped, hopefully, for a while. It's on the 10th floor. Who cares about those 10th floor people, honestly? I've also been running my last build of the league, which is Spellslinger VDDD, you know what I mean? And that's been really good. It's probably the first and last time I'll run it because I assume it's going to get nerfed. It's been very a lot of people have been using it. So that's what, and I've not done my 40/40 because I've been addicted. Literally, Binding of Isaac expansion came out March 31st. It's the 9th right now. As of yesterday, I played 80 hours.
Bro, that's a lot.
I may have a slight problem. Maybe. I don't know. That's for the history books to decide.
I'm still working on the prototype for my user experience design project on the map tab, but that should be ready for people to test soon, which I'm excited about. I'm trying to make some decisions, but I can't tell you what they are until it's tested, because then you guys can tell me whether they worked or not. Otherwise, if I tell you, it's like a biased assessment. But
what is it?
It's due in 2 weeks, so I don't have a lot more time to refine it or something. I'm a little bit lost on the timeline of this section of my course is finishing soon. But I'm using this program called Figma, which is just a online, but you can also download the desktop app, and then you create different screens, and then you create relationships to on-screen elements, and then you can, so if you were to run the prototype, if you click on the certain areas, it will simulate the experience. So it's not just like I've seen people post like a Photoshop job they did on the Reddit and be like, UX'd it, done. I actually have to like make a working prototype, which sucks.
Oh, you can't just Photoshop and say this.
No, unfortunately not.
That.
Like it has to be interactive so that people can assess whether it is fit for purpose or, you know, change the design to be more appropriate. The other thing that I've been doing is Noogie did a stream last weekend playing They Are Billions, and I've been playing a little bit of it offline, not streaming it. I still have not completed like a single, like all the way through run of that game. I find it really challenging, but I also don't have that much of a history with like real-time strategy or even just strategy games, but I love it. It's such a fun game. I just get really like absorbed and then I get really tilted.
It's just not your forte yet.
I don't have any fortes in gaming, and I legit don't know what I'm doing here.
I think you do, ma'am. I think you're just a perfectionist that's hard on yourself.
It's not, you're not wrong. Let's get into the announcement. So ordinarily I would give us a strict sort of like start topic, but there is so much juicy shit to get into, and I really want to hear from you guys, my co-hosts, whether you want to talk about Ultimatum or PoE2 first.
Probably Ultimatum, because I feel like I'm gonna start rambling a lot if we get into PoE2.
Because it's mostly speculation, even though we did get to see more stuff.
It's speculation, and they revealed some lore stuff that is very heavily tied to a major like issue I had with Heist that I have maybe ranted about many times before, and so it's gonna open the floodgates. So let's try to hold back that beast for a bit, maybe.
Val, BK, you guys okay with that order?
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, to kick things off, initial reactions to the reveal for Ultimatum. Let's try and focus on the actual Ultimatum content first, and then we'll get into the like reward restructuring and the other announcements for the core game. Vel?
What if I told you that I got so distracted by Noodle's beautiful Majora's Mask thing that I didn't hear what you said? I was like,
Val, what did you think of the Ultimatum announcement, you twit?
I'm like, I wasn't expecting to go first. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me just tell you, as somebody who loves the Gamba, like this is, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna kill myself. I'm just gonna kill myself. I'm gonna ramp it and ramp it, ramp and ramp. Oh, 10% lost. I'm ready. Like that's what's gonna happen. But it's so just not even the rework part of it. Just the mechanic itself is so fun. Yeah, they're right. It does look a lot like Ritual. They're not wrong about that. Okay.
Why is it a circle? Should have done a different shape this time.
A square at least. Right? A square.
Come on.
Probably a triangle.
A triangle, a hexagon, even. Like, oh man, a triangle for Vol. I see it. They love their pyramids. Make it multi-layered. Either way, I think that the mechanic itself, the stopping the two multiple people gameplay, where other people can choose what they want, like this is crazy.
Are you gonna party play?
Listen, I'm a greedy exile who likes to take all the loot, and when someone takes just one of my chaos, I'm like, what are you doing? Like I just get like, I open this map, that's my chaos. Oh shit, but yeah.
Okay. Noodle.
Oh, it's done now.
Oh, okay. First impressions of Ultimatum.
Well, obviously I was sitting there just is it Doriani? Is it gonna be Doriani? Is this guy Doriani? They're like, his name is Chaos. I'm like,
Oh,
that's
what?
not a real name. That's not a real name. You didn't say it's not Doriani. That's Chaos the Trial Master. I don't buy it. That was not your born given name,
No,
sir.
it's your
I'm gonna
adoptive
find
name.
out who this is.
Doesn't he just serve chaos?
He
Yeah,
calls
you're-
himself Chaos.
Bro, he is a chaos orb.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that they said that he just served chaos and that he was not that.
Yeah, that was my impression too, Belly.
I
Oh,
think
okay.
on the site that it says that he is only known as Chaos the Trial Master on their like posty thingy. I have it here.
I mean, it's absolutely a cover story, though. You're right.
Yeah. Undertake the Trials of Chaos. Yeah, he's definitely. I don't buy it. That's not his real name.
Is he
I'm
wearing a
still going
mask?
to, Oh yeah, it says on behalf of a Vol entity known only as Chaos, the Trial Master. So that's his chosen name. Like, cool, you're Chaos. I'm sure. I'm gonna dig into that. Obviously, I don't buy it. But besides that, I think it's interesting to see that we speculated the sort of basis of this somewhat correctly, in that you're having to choose between Gamba or take your reward and leave. But I guess it's not any kind of crafting, which is not too surprising. It's true that Harvest obviously is leaving a big crafting hole to an extent, but to introduce a new crafting system right after would have been weird. I definitely suspect that this will be something I die to a lot as well, but I'm really excited, and I do hope, since Chris was very mysterious but also kind of transparent, that there's going to be a boss fight. I'm very excited. I always love when there's a good end game boss fight to a league, and I think it seems really cool. I don't really know if it's going to be as lore heavy as I was hoping for. It seems like it could potentially just be really mechanic heavy, but
But it is kind of a crafting league because of the beast thing.
yeah, that's true. I guess all the
Yeah.
reworks and everything.
You're not, so you're like technically correct.
Yeah. I like that.
It's good.
Over to BK for first impressions of Ultimatum.
Very excited to play it. It's really cool, like the mix of league mechanics we see resurfacing in it. Like the actual sort of overall mechanic is like Legion and Ritual together. And then like the risk reward stuff is like a bit of heist, because if you like died on the way out, you lose everything too. And so we see like a lot of assets sort of reused, and then also like other familiar things kind of like snuck into it. But I'm excited. It seems to have that sort of scaling in it that will challenge a lot of people in a simplistic way. Like the fact that you can do up to 10 levels of this trial thing, but then all of that gets inherited on whatever parent map you're playing. So if you really want to challenge difficulty, you do like, 100% delirious crazy map mods, and then you go all the way up to 10. Like that's a nice sliding scale for an entire league worth of like character improvement. So I'm really, really excited about that they gave it like the depth. I don't know how much we want to go into all the other stuff. I guess I can chime in, but that's kind of like the gist of it. I think it's a little bit simpler, but I think that's also because it's coming on the side of like all these other changes that are being and reworks that are being snuck into it. So like I'm forgiving that it's simplistic for sure, considering what we're getting in return. Like I don't think there's any way that they could have like given us a full league and this stuff together with their time management. Like
Yeah.
so like
Yeah,
it's very easy to be understanding of this, I think.
The amount of reworks in the trailer when they just start listing, I was literally there like,
I know.
There's
It
so
just-
many.
It kept going, and I was like, "Are you serious?
And it was getting faster and faster.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. It was something.
Yeah, it was like
And
one of
there's-
those things where you're like, if you get too excited about one thing, you'll miss the next thing.
Yeah.
And you couldn't pause it to digest anything. Actually watching it in the live stream, man. was a whole experience. I got so
Did you get your
excited that
wings?
I think I wept a little bit.
No.
Oh.
I was also really tired, like, you know, when you wake up really early in the morning and your eyes are like prone to watering.
This is so beautiful. All these reworks. Oh my
So
God.
I was wiping my eye and then like, Pi, are you crying? And I was like, a little bit, yeah.
No,
Oh, man.
my baby. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I had to go back and rewatch stuff because I was so hyped that my brain just sort of stopped absorbing information. Basically, once they got to some of the PoE2 stuff, it was just like the glass is full and it's just pouring out. Like, I'm not absorbing anything else.
Mhm.
What do you mean, Noodle? They did the PoE2 stuff at the beginning. Do you mean right away?
It is
Basically,
instantly
yes.
like
As
cut
soon as they
fade
got
to
to-
caravan. She's just gone.
They said the word Faradun and my brain went whoop. Just complete
Nice.
like
I was
Endorphins
messaging you
to the
yesterday.
max.
We were both like, I don't know what just happened.
Dude,
yeah.
that caravan. That caravan.
Oh my
though.
god, it's
Oh.
beautiful. We can talk about I
We'll talk about it
Don't-
later. We'll talk
No,
about
I
it.
feel the like well
Visitor
opening up
restraint.
and I'm
No caravans.
Gonna talk about it later.
What are caravans? Never heard of them.
But ritual, I mean, what is it called?
Ultimatum?
Are you doing a bit or is that
No, okay, listen, I started to do a bit, but then I actually forgot. So it kind of worked out. I thought that I wanted to call it incursion. Okay.
That's funny.
Okay.
But listen, incursion though. Do you guys see? It's a thing now. You could just buy. It's a thing.
The
You
trading
can just
temples.
Buy it. You could just buy the temple, baby.
Oh man,
It's so good.
I was like, this shows they can do it. They can do it with other stuff.
Yeah.
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 And the reworking of the boss, because the rewards from I have oftentimes run a temple to get the rooms and I don't even bother with the King Roomba because what is it gonna drop that I'm gonna want?
Sometimes
Like,
there's a flask that's good. All right.
yeah, sometimes.
But
but
most
you-
of the time
I
you get a
mean-
flask that's not that good.
Well, you can get the flask and then you have to get the trial or not trial, the vial. Vial
The vial.
that'll upgrade it.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, never reap the reward.
Let me tell you. There's actually a way to get the file you want. I don't know it. I don't know it. It's like you got to upgrade like the storm room or something, but I don't know.
Or you could just
it's-
buy it.
or you could just buy it. Yeah, it's just
But yeah, I
random
mean, it
chance.
just usually wasn't worth doing the boss, so I'm
Mhm.
excited to see the rework of the rooms and trading them because there's been so many times where I want to run incursion in maps just to get like the extra loot bonus and not do the temple, and then when your temple's full and you're like,
I can't run anymore.
Mm.
I don't want to run the temple. Can I just pawn
Not
it off
right
to someone
now.
else?
yeah, you could
Or
get
throw
a
it in
good
the
one and then
trash.
sell it.
Yeah, I could throw it in the bin.
Mm-hmm. If it's mediocre, right? If it's all just
Plus,
two
I'm
in one
hoping-
room.
Yeah, even then, yeah, you can just take it as is and just put it in your dump tab.
Yeah.
So
The
nice.
dump tab.
Yeah.
You live here forever.
The junk drawer of PoE. Yeah, everyone has one.
We do.
Called my guild stash.
Poor guild.
Well, I'm playing in a private league. It's fucking my guild stash that no one else has access to.
Oh, fair
It
enough.
actually is like a treasure. Ah, such a good place to put stuff. Uh, I'm sharing, right?
Mhm.
The
Totally.
lab changes though to
Yes.
the rework for enchants.
That
Oh.
was where I cried a little. Like, I'm not even ashamed to say. I don't even feel. I felt a little bit imposter syndrome to cry a little bit about the lab stuff because it has not personally afflicted me that much compared to what other people have suffered. But come on, it's a really good change.
It's a large amount of empathy for all the people who have to run terrible lab. You know? They're struggling. And fuck that one guy who has been RMTing for years.
Yeah.
I love the
Justice
person
for
on Reddit
Sue.
that has all of the upvotes and it's like, Yeah, like that one guy who can suck it. And I was like, I like knew a little bit, but then I went down and read the actual, there was this one guy who described who that one guy is. And I was like, wow, that's a good recounting. And also, fuck that guy.
I was just happy to see the Reddit unified for once. It was, and
Right?
saying fuck that guy, but it was nice for a moment. There's peace and serenity.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah, it's
whatever it
taking the
takes.
general tone of anger at like everything and funneling it to a cause
one
of
guy.
justice.
Like,
And that one guy
the
isn't
duel-
a Path of Exile GGG staff member. It's good stuff, man.
That's such a
Like-
good change too.
It is. Those jewels, they're not like incredible compared to all the stuff we have now, but they are really nice. And it's nice that more like they're open to just a broad category. Like people can, they're pretty nice. They're a good filler jewel. They'll actually cost like still a decent amount of money, give you a good reason to run lab in the first place.
True.
The-
Yeah.
you know?
And now you just won't have to buy like anytime you want to have an enchant, you just buy a hubris circlet with it already on it. Now you could actually use a helmet that you want, and maybe if still you have to go through lab, so maybe not. But with 3 choices, it's a lot more likely. And even
if
then,
all of them sink and you hit Ellie pin on boots, you've still made a profit.
yeah, exactly. If
True.
you can have the alternate boots option because you can see what that would be.
So wait,
So-
how does it work with twice enchanted? You get 3 and then none of these were, and then you get another 3. Is that like just still work the same?
I'm
So you
assuming
get
it's
3
probably
each time?
double roll. It's not picking from the same list. It's probably like a new
role.
list of like the
I think
glove,
it's like
boot,
how
and then 3 helm.
when you have more than one
guessing.
unveiled, you have like a set to choose from each time. I'd say it'd be like that.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, that's
It'd
how it
be
makes
nice-
sense, but like every time so when Chris was asked about it, his description wasn't very clear, and then when Rory was asked about it, it also wasn't clear. So the whole thing is that whole like clear as mud. We'll find out in a week.
Okay.
We have
I hope it's different
plans.
lists, but still nice change.
Yeah, it's a huge. I just thought about boot enchant alone. So that 10%. I paid somebody like, I'm not gonna lie, mega lazy. I paid someone 20x to find me that boot enchant. Okay. Mega lazy. Okay, I didn't want to run lab to
Wow.
try, because last time I had to run lab to find it, it took me like 60 labs to get it. I wasn't gonna do that again. So I was just gonna pay
Fair.
that. To me, 20x is worth my time of 60 labs. Now, did the guy get it in like 6 labs? Yeah, maybe he did. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It saved me time and effort of something I didn't want to do. Now I actually may be willing to do it. So
Yeah. So it comes down for me too. Like I'm more willing to run lab now, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
still not going to be my in-game grinds, but I'll run it.
Yeah, for
Dude.
real.
I'm stuck on 40-40, and my endgame grind is either 100, 12 more shabbies, or 100 labs. I hate all of these options.
Oh no.
Every one of them. Yeah. But next league, considering the changes, I may actually do those 100 labs. Mhm.
Will you?
No.
I mean, I used to actually do it I literally ran
Really?
1200 vols when that was a challenge. So
Wow.
I get really hyper focused into one goal, and then I just grind it. So that's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be.
All right then.
All right.
What did you think about the talisman reworks, Val?
It's like you saw how mega powerful they were. I'm like, but were they?
Yeah, he's like, some people think it's my favorite league, and I was like,
It's Vel.
Is it? No, listen, Christopher Wilson. The reason I think it's your favorite league is because you said that was my favorite league at Exile Con, and when I heard it, I died. I died. All right, I died. I was just
Maybe
was
you
just
see
dead.
that clip of yours.
Like what? The
Christmas
which one?
one?
Wait, where the fuck the fan one? I didn't know it was him. It's not fair. That's not fair at all. Okay. I didn't know that he was the fan. I thought it was going to be some other fan. Okay. Listen, but about the talismans, like the fact that we can corrupt, they are really good. They're legit. I've seen some pog-ass talismans that nobody buys because nobody cares about corrupted necklaces. But if you can put a good anoint on that, like an anoint you know is going to sell, oh my God. Like they'll actually, now the question is, will people be able to search for these talismans effectively? Because that's a big problem. People don't think to look for corrupted necklaces, no influence, etc., etc. The tainted
Yo, I
oils,
think you
though.
broke it. Now everyone's going to be
What?
like, oh, crap. They're not going to update
Well-
trade.
No, they like.
Oh.
Oh, trade. I had to buy ritual vessels to try to get one of my challenges done, and you can only do that by putting in a chaos amount and then searching for the name individually. You said I could trade them, but then you didn't give me any reason, like real thing to trade, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it sucked. I paid 2x for a guy in a talus or in a ritual vessel just because I can't
You couldn't
search.
find the like one that you
I
with the boss you
guarantee
needed.
it was probably for 50, but you can only search 100 searches.
Oh.
So if it's not in that list of 100, you're just screwed. You're just screwed. It's okay.
Yeah. Go,
I
Noodle.
was just gonna say, I think it's interesting. I'm glad that they're adding tainted oils. I don't really get why they're nerfing talismans, to be honest, because I think most people are still, even regardless of what it's anointed with, just like, oh, talisman, can't do anything with this,
Yeah.
it's corrupted. But I know I've seen some really good ones. I just usually don't look at them unless something really catches my eye when I'm un-IDing them. So I think the tainted oils are a good idea, but I don't know, of all the things to nerf, it was kind of interesting. I guess there's the potential, but it's still random rolls. It's not like you can craft on them now. You just can change the anoint.
I want to ask a question. The first reward improvement that they cite is the 2 new currencies. Orbs of Binding aren't new.
They're new in the regular drop pool.
Right, they're
So
only-
before they'd only drop from specific content. Now that they're in the base pool, it has large implications for story leveling. Like being able to upgrade an item to rare and it being 4-linked is like
Yeah.
for speedrunning alone, depending on how early they drop and what type of rarity they are. This is huge.
Yep.
True. Yeah.
Yep.
Even
Think
for
about-
league start, that's going to be so nice,
And
depending on when they
exactly
start.
in
I do
fresh leagues
recall-
and league start situations, just like getting that and having that 4-link.
It was
Because you can
really
use it
nice
on any
in
base you
3.0.
want.
It was really,
Yeah.
really nice in 3.0.
Yeah. Because you're not going to be running into Harbinger content when you're leveling. So, okay, that makes sense. Veiled Chaos Orbs. I don't know if I'm going to use that very much. Just because it re-rolls your item too, so...
Yeah, you lose all
I
your
don't know.
good mods, and then, oh, there's a chance that I can get an... I'm really... Okay, I think it's going to depend on how the new incursion mods work, and if there's, like, some really
The-
good stuff.
Veiled mods?
Yeah.
It's not for something you already have like good stuff on. It's for the things like, oh, I got this new base, slam it. Slam it a couple more times, because the way that they changed crafting betrayal mods is absolutely and utterly nutty. Right? Like they made
messed them up,
they made
sorry.
it.
The mod name, my bad.
Yeah,
I
we
mixed
understood.
those two
No worries.
names up. I'm so sorry.
Betrayal, incursion. Let's just make them one league. You know?
Okay, in my
Get 'em,
head,
roll
they're
them
really
together.
just like veiled mods, which is related to Syndicate, and the word betrayal doesn't mean anything to me. And then and then incursion doesn't mean anything to me because it's just out of a temple.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess you would just kind of like use it as a chaos spam with the hope of getting one of those advanced, well, I guess they're not advanced. It's basically the same role mods, but with better roles, like higher tiers on each thing. There's not like any things you can only get specifically from a direct veil, is there? It's all just like the same crafts, but better if you directly unveil it on the item.
Wait, let me find the part where it talks about veiled stuff.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is that the veiled mods now are the best source of those particular mods, and the ones that we get are crafted are like down a tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw what they've done. Octavian actually posted on Twitter what they've done with both ailment immunity and stun, as well as channel. And it looks like the top end channel to top end mana to non-channeling skills is going to be what, a 6-7 instead of an 8-9.
Yeah, because I think the tier 4, like the high veiled one, is gonna still be 9.
Yeah,
they just smooshed it down.
When was this posted?
When did Octavian?
I missed this.
I saw it when I was, I've just been. He just posted it. What? Yeah, today. Today, I think. Not even a couple hours ago.
When I was asleep. Cool.
7 hours ago. 7 hours ago.
Definitely asleep.
I saw it in the morning. Yeah. You were definitely asleep.
Okay.
Yeah, he posted the
no
ailment
worries. I'm not supposed to know stuff when I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I mean, how could you? Yeah. So it was in the video, and he's got a screenshot of it and showed us that they did indeed take down the avoid elemental ailments by 5%. So now instead of 25 to 35, it's 20 to 30.
Yep.
20 to 25 on the craft.
Good eye, by the way. Like, I didn't notice that at all.
Bro, there was a lot of stuff coming out at me. I needed to just read the big titles, not the little bits. You know, the big subtitles at the bottom of the video that were like, reworking this, and then listen to Chris, and then anything else that was on screen was just colors. That I'm basic. Okay.
It creates an emphasis on using the elevated mod, or having to go for the tier 4 veiled mod to actually get ailment avoidance. Which it's pretty powerful, so I mean, I guess you could say it's an appropriate investment chant, or like time investment for power. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna mess around with it, just get some good bases and start veiled chaos spamming and see if I can get anything.
It'll be interesting how much of them drop. Like if they're gonna drop at the same rate that chaos drop at.
I think they're a little bit rare, is what they were saying.
Yeah. Are they like a vol orb drop in that way? Because they're a vol.
I don't think they gave. Based on how they were talking about it, I think it's rarer than that.
It was Aisling, I thought, had a chance to drop them.
She does. A betrayal.
Yeah.
Safe
They're saying betrayal's the best way to.
So you'll be able to kind of access it, I guess.
Okay, this is betrayal loosely related to what you just said, BK. As far as I understand it, Gaelic names like Ash. Like AIS is an ash sound, and hearing Chris saying Aisling was like, is that really? I didn't know that's how her name was said.
I call her Bo Bitch with the A because I don't know how to say her name. That's her name to me. There are a lot of Bo Bitches. We got It That Flet. I think she used the bow. I'm not quite sure. Rin, Tora, Bitch with the A. You know, there's a lot. There's a lot of ladies.
Tora is an easy name to say, though.
Tora's easy, and they both, I think, do poison damage, so it's easier to say Tora, and then the other one with,
the other Tora.
The other bitch.
yeah, the other bitch with the A. Because I don't know how to say her name, because I don't know names like that. I'm very in my own Canadian bubble. I've never heard it before.
No, I mean, my best friend's sister's name is Ashlyn.
Yeah, I've been corrected a lot to call her Ashlyn, and so hearing that, I was like,
yeah, I was really confused.
I called Isla Isla, so you know that's just how I am.
Oh yeah,
I
and
called
then
her Ela.
Taki in Bay class yesterday called her ailing.
Okay,
That's
we're all-
actually
And
pretty
the
good.
chat was like,
The name's
It was
hard.
so good.
Okay, it's new and different. Wait, isn't shouldn't it not be that new and different to Tarky Cat? Tarky, I'm calling you out for this. Aren't you of the UK variety? Isn't it something that may be more heard of in the UK?
I think he's making the S silent in the same way that island, the S is silent.
I mean Isla?
It's Isla.
It's Isla.
I found out because there's an Australian actress called Isla Fisher, I think is her name. And my mom calls her Isla Fisher, and then she's in like a bunch of bank ads on back here. And whenever the bank ads come on and the name is said, my mom is always like, "Oh right." I'm sorry, massive tangent, not important.
It's about names, man. It's very important.
we gotta be really about the naming conventions, yeah. Although PoE is very inconsistent with that stuff.
I didn't know
No kidding.
how to say the temple name until Chris said it yesterday, and I already forgot it.
What?
Every time I say
Axolotl?
Axolotl, I think I'm saying Axolotl, like the
What is
adorable
it?
sea
What's it
creature. It's Axolotl.
Axolotl.
Axolotl?
Okay. All right then.
I know that one. Yay.
Okay,
I don't
okay. I'm gonna take. All right then, whatever you say. Okay. Let's just recap the rewards because we kind of bounced around this spot, and then stop me when you want to talk about something.
Okay.
New Atlas base types, including Essence Recharge Ring.
Oh, I just want to keck W that he was talking about the ES recharge, but it was showing us a Chaos Ring.
Oh, it was showing us
Yeah.
Not
It's a
S-
2-for-1
not
for
Essence
us.
ES, sorry.
Woo!
I'm saying words that aren't the words that I mean to say. ES Recharge Ring. My bad.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. So interesting. And they have like region location specific things, which is cool because I feel like that's not like going to a certain part of the Atlas hasn't been a vibe for a while. I'm just used to people talking about bestiary and having like certain monsters in certain regions was fun. Okay, act bosses are dropping more loot, so now that that's the case, people are going to make a habit of theoretically running more act bosses. Yay. I'm probably not going to do that.
Act boss. I mean, it's cool. I'm not. I will never complain about more loot, but I don't think people really farm act bosses.
I think
Maybe if they were like Blood Aqueduct drops more loot, I'd be like, hey, that's
Yeah,
where I'm
buff
farming.
Blood
if I'm in the
Aqueduct.
act.
You know where it's nice when you're done with an act and you're going on to the next one and you're like, I really need a something, right? And they give you something that you may need.
Yeah.
That's because the amount of times I've killed like Mervale and been like, oh great, a claw. And whoever uses claws in this game anyway, I saw what they're trying to do with claws and shit. Listen.
Claws and
Nobody
daggers are
uses
the
claws
same thing, but with
anymore.
different art, apparently. I found that out.
Claws look cooler with Cobra Lash, and that's why they win.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. Vendor recipes, some league specific uniques have been added to the core drop pool, including Headhunter. We should probably stop on that one for a sec. Theoretically, this means that more people in the like average PoE player base is gonna drop Headhunter because it's not limited to Nemesis now. What do you guys think of that?
It's kind of a PoE newbie rite of passage to get that huge thing that you know is super valuable that you don't really understand, and hopefully you figure it out and sell it. I got a Fizz Claw in my first league that was worth like 18x, and I had no clue what I was doing. I'm sure I still got ripped off, but like I don't know. It's kind of like a something that happens every once in a while, and it makes me smile. I like it that it happens.
I mean, I think it's cool. I feel like they said something, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they said something that they're going to make it a little bit more difficult to get other ways, which I don't know if that meant something with div card drops or I mean, it's not like they can make rolling Nemesis more difficult, but maybe just the percentage of if you can chance it being lowered because it's no longer just a Nemesis. I'm not really sure everything they're going to do with that, but I think it's cool. I mean, bring the headhunter to the people. Socialism and PoE. Let's go.
I wonder how many people are actually going to slap the headhunter on versus just be like, I'm going to sell it to the people who want it because money to do other things. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
I'd probably wear mine for a bit if I got it and then sell it, not gonna lie.
I think it comes down to like a tolerance thing, or I guess what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I would sell it too. I'm not gonna lie.
I want to know what other nerfs they mean, because they said like by adding it in this way, we had to change the way it shows up in other ways, and it's like, well, what do you mean, like no temple headhunter? Like they didn't specifically.
Yeah, they weren't specific.
He didn't state it, right? But that's what I want to know. And honestly, I've never gotten a headhunter from the temple, so I don't really care.
Yeah, the way he just sort of globally said that when they look at the like overall data for, say, it's still 100 headhunters drop in X amount of time, like the distribution of them will be like you'll still have 100 dropping in a period of time, but just the weighting for certain sources is going to be changed. So I guess it would scale with the method. So for cards, it would be drop rate. For like temple and ancient orbs, maybe that would be like a rarity change. I mean,
belt beast, although they're a specific beast, I think.
Apparently it's going to be harder to ancient orb.
I bet so. It'll probably be a little bit like tougher waiting on ancient orb, but who knows? I mean, they were very vague, and I think it's on purpose so people are like,
but damn
they also probably don't have the rates locked in yet, so they can't be like, oh well, it's actually this, because they're probably still testing it.
True.
All right.
Yeah.
One other thing on headhunter, and then we move on. Apparently they're also capping the size of your character.
Oh, good, because like
I love just staring at like the thighs of someone's character.
Love the ankles.
Running headhunter.
My immersion is completely ruined. I obviously play a fantasy game to be a gigantic knee stomping through the countryside.
You're just trying to be a giant?
Ruined. It's going to be a giant knee.
Yeah, I just realized I need to use my headhunter when it can still be very big because I have these gold go-go boots, the radiant boots, and I need to be giant with those boots. I need to do that now.
Yes.
I will not have another opportunity.
This is
just don't use phasing.
Deal.
I just want to say the new recipe thing that they're adding. I'm so excited. I'm not even going to try to make a thing, but I'm just excited they have hidden recipes again.
That is cool.
It's so cool.
I love people trying to decode like the message, and there was like 69 and 420 and
yeah. People are just like,
so
what
good.
hidden watching them just like vendor trash 6 exalts. I'm like, what are you doing?
I watched that and I was like, only in a test server, only in a test. I had to like console myself internally.
Yeah, and a fishing rod and like just so many things. I just love it because I think, what was it? Was Loreweave the last thing that was discovered ever? Loreweave was a hidden recipe. Nobody knew, right? And then
they did add the replica mace shadow scepter thing that everybody throws away, the bitter dream. Yeah, that we did have to figure that out, and it was a little bit more like we had pieces of that puzzle to begin with, whereas this is very like we scattered the pieces around the globe and then you have to figure out how they connect. Like very no beginning point. We don't even know what we could get, right?
We have no idea. So. What do you even vendor? Nobody even knows. That's the most
And
exciting
what would you even
part.
get? Like, what
knows?
could it be? There's no clues here. Yeah, I mean,
So exciting. It could be garbage. It could literally just say rubbish, and I'd be like, oh, there's the rubbish.
but maybe it's like albino rubbish.
I'm
And
picturing
you're like,
it.
whoa.
You know when you get like the miscellaneous unique that is a present box?
Yeah.
And then I'm just
Yeah.
picturing like a trash can.
You get nothing.
New to Path of Exile 3.14 trash can.
Garbage. For your
As long as you
hideout.
can wear it and it has 3D art, I would be super happy.
Just picturing
If I could
Noodle's
just
new
wear the
character
bin.
going through wearing a bin. Like
Yeah, I
Oscar
wear a
the
trash
Grouch
can.
or something.
Gold go-go boots. Just gold rim. That's already looks like a trash can head.
Wow, poor Gold Rim.
Path
It's
of
just trying its
fashion.
best.
Okay,
Trying
okay,
its
let's keep
best.
going. And series uniques have been reworked, and there's 2 new uniques. Did you guys see the garb? I thought the garb looked pretty cool. The jacket.
Definitely a consideration for people that are going to be taking advantage of the Val skills rework, you know, that they recharge faster on bosses now.
Mm-hmm.
Having a +1
Oh my
to your active skill, Val skill, is just baseline pretty nice. Recovery options are pretty interesting with some of the other like new recovery stuff that's been introduced as well.
I didn't see the garb. I'm looking for the garb.
Oh.
Is it on the Reddit?
Hang
Or is it on the main site? It's okay, I'll look it up.
It has
mute myself.
It's
+1
on
to your active Val skill gems or Val skill gems, but it's not corrupted. It's the same garb. It just has that as the implicit now.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
it's you can change the colors on it and stuff. Or like, you know, something like Chila's one you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also
Interesting.
reward improvement 7 on the like ultimatum page, in case anyone's looking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will say this is like the longest page they've had for a league announcement because of how much they're covering.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about lab. I don't think that we need to go back, except that we need to also acknowledge that you can just spam sacrifices of the goddess to get
Oh, the
trials, and
trials.
that is going to be pog.
So good for solo cell phone. Oh, and just anyone, but especially.
Yep.
I'm actually gonna probably be able to do Uber like at a reasonable pace. Not like when I'm level
95.
90.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm deceased over that one.
Oh, it's
All
so
right.
exciting.
Quickly now, Piranda's changes. Kadiro's loot has been revamped, and the coins are still the best way to get the best unique somehow. Okay, yay. We'll see.
Dude hates me. All right.
Meh.
Never
If he
been my
gives
Kadir
me-
bro once.
$1 or a gold rim early in the game, I'm happy. Probably if I can afford it.
It's kind of a nerf and buff at the same time, because him having like a bigger pool of uniques that he can offer dilutes the pool of the ones that were, you know, possible to come from him. But also that means they probably updated his loot table. He was actually remembering the old rarity for in series foible. So it was actually really common to get it from him.
Oh.
So that means you can't anymore.
Oh.
Man.
That means foible prices on the rise? Check it out now.
We told you first. You heard it here first. The essence changes look really fun for crafting.
Yeah, I'll probably actually use some of my remnants of corruption. By the end of the league, I have so many, and I just forget to have them in my inventory.
I'm
The
excited.
I have
new-
none.
I am probably the most excited about the Essence changes, but I've been like a huge fan of Essence even in its current form.
Same.
I am mega stoked by this. Like the fact that you can just craft baseline with screamings is amazing for early league start.
To be
Yeah.
able
For SSF sort of
to
situations
reroll
where you
and
can.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you don't have
so-
to use a
yeah.
scour, which was it could be
Because,
so
like,
costly.
Yeah.
Right, they're perfect for crafting that early level gear, but they're, no one has scours at the beginning of the league like that.
No.
So no one was using the essences and they just rot. So that's really awesome. And then the modifications to the baseline, like things that you get from the corrupted essences now, they've added so many that are really, really good. So like essence crafting is like a halfway step to like a certain unique that you're after is like now more possible than ever. Like a good example of one is that there's one where you can get AoE guaranteed on a chest, which is like a halfway step to Carcass Jack if you are an AoE intensive build. The one for mana gain on block went from 2% to 5%. So if you're an Archmage build that does like mom stuff and block stuff, like you don't have to have a Shaper or a Redeemer shield anymore. You can just slap that on any shield that can possibly roll mana and get a really, really good starting shield. So
That's
like
huge.
take the time to read all of the new options on the essence things. I promise you're gonna find something for the build that you're gonna start on in it.
I have a lot of reading to
And
do.
prepare in advance.
Yeah, I had not read through all of them. I was like, oh, that seems cool, but now I need to go read through those. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's on my list. But like, there's been so much stuff. I'm just trying to let it trickle in, and then I'll be like, "Ooh, this thing I'm very excited about. I need to read more."
There's one thing about the mechanic itself that we kind of like. We've gone on to the rebalance stuff, but towards the end, I'd like to go back to the actual mechanic. There's something that I don't think anyone's noticed yet.
Yeah,
Ooh.
absolutely. Let's chat quickly about Breach and Abyss changes. The jewel choice is interesting one for the Abyss jewels because they were already pretty good, but like, I guess cluster jewels were distracting people from how good they
makes
are.
it. Yeah, I definitely think that's the case here. Is like in most instances, the relative power of adding, like notables versus flat damage was huge. So of course they became more popular. But the like unique ones that then synergize off of how many you have of other things are pretty interesting too. We haven't seen it for the searching eye or the ghastly eye yet. I'm really interested in the minion one because minion builds have really shifted to be very, very cluster heavy. When like before clusters, it was all about sockets. Like how many sockets? Like could you have 8 sockets in a minion build? Because that's how many you needed. And it's kind of cool that we'll have maybe possibly 2 different ways to gear minion stuff. I don't know. There's some implications there in the way that like Hail Negator is good. That could be useful as a tool to scaling damage for a lot of different builds possibly. So I think it's neat.
I like how they nerfed the jewels and then they brought them back and then gave them like more mods.
Yeah,
They're like
these things that we said were OP, we're sorry, and here's a little extra.
Here's a little extra. All right, you need it.
I guess all that shit we said about it being too OP, well, it got away from us again.
Also,
exactly.
rip it that fled, because now you can upgrade your breach stones with blessings.
Big Claudia
What
change,
else does
especially
she
in the new
do?
Atlas.
I don't know.
In anywhere else.
I don't know.
Other than research, what's her deal?
What else does anyone in the syndicate do other than research? Or sometimes the other one.
It's
But
like so good for access in general because like when I was running the invitations for Maven, like the breach one is the one I just probably ran the most of. I was drowning in blessings. And the fact that I could have just like boop 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 and like gotten some really nice safe XP instead of having like 40 of each essence in my face. That would have been really cool.
I want to say right now, like, I feel like if you're going to announce that you can upgrade breach stones with blessings, that you need to upgrade the fragment tab, because that means more people are going to have upgraded breach stones and need somewhere to put them. But I don't think it'll happen. But
I may actually join Global 820 again to do XP runs. That's like, I may legitimately do that because, I mean, it's not a bad way if everybody's got stones and nobody's making you pay out the ass like they do in Trade 820. You know, it might be nice to just run. To be fair, I don't know how this new performance patch thing is going to be with a big group, so it could still be terrible. But
Okay,
like,
here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna get the manifesto and the patch notes, and they're going to introduce quality of life of all of the changes to the pay tabs we've ever wanted. That's gonna be the balm to
No.
soothe what is coming.
BK, no.
That's the compliment sandwich.
BK, no.
you think so?
What if they rework the map tab? I can't do that. My assignment.
They won't. They won't. They won't.
No,
Trust
I don't
me,
think it's gonna happen.
Not the map tab,
Yeah,
but
no.
the currency one's
I think
obviously
the-
going to get a rework, right? For the new little orb. Gotta have a spot,
Probably.
right?
I was
What were you
telling
saying,
Taki because
BK?
he tweeted, he was like, what are you hoping for or looking forward to out of the ultimatum announcement? And I was like, I don't want to comment on the thread because I don't want to tempt fate. So I just messaged him and was like, please, I'm hoping they don't do anything with the map tab because it will ruin my assignment.
I just knocked my wood that they won't. All right. I believe in the superstition of knocking wood for no reason at all. And so I've done it.
Does bamboo count?
It's wood. Yeah.
All right. Let's get through these quickly. Beast crafting change. Sorry.
Right.
Okay, let me point out that I'm gonna say what it was. Beast crafting has been revamped, and you can't split items that have already been split, basically, which is you can't cheese the shit out of this mechanic. Yay.
Yeah.
Also, boo, because the chess pieces are gonna be so much more expensive now too.
Yeah.
But it might also lower the price just because there's not that.
It
Because people won't be able to
redistributes the
afford
price
them.
because your
Yeah.
services that then cause those certain outcomes, like white sockets, will be worth more. So like
Yeah.
it just redistributes the cost a little bit.
Agreed. I'm a little worried, but generally, yay!
Yep, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they added being able to add mods to influenced items when they took that away from Harvest to an extent where you can't add like you can't use Harvest to cheese adding like a fire mod or whatever else to influenced items. I'm like, okay, all right, that's good. 'cause I use a lot
Redistribute
of
the
influenced
crafting
items.
throughout the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
we're
that's
okay
sort
with
of what we
this.
were asking for initially in the like first episode when they're like, "How would you do it if it doesn't go core?" We were like, "Let's give it to everything else."
Mhm.
I'm happy for it too, just mostly because like they've added new beast costs as well. So
Yes.
like more beasts in general are going to be valuable rather than like one or two. So like all the new episodes take two like special ones and so on. And they did it like they expanded it in a way that didn't make it like overly complicated by just like reusing the same things and not like adding in new whatevers.
Question: were the graphics in that better, or is it just that I don't do this often, so I didn't, see how pretty it looked when you have nice beasts in there? There were nice graphics in the little recipe thing. I don't know. If you go back to watch the video, I was like, oh, that looks nice. Are they new graphics or beasts or something? And then I didn't know anything.
I didn't notice.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't beastcraft enough.
It's somewhere that I don't go to a whole lot because I generally only do minor crafting things at Beast purely, but I think it could be really valuable to actually just farm out beasts you need. Like, I put the points in Einhart, but then I never ran the areas because,
Yeah.
Harvest is over there. Harvest
Same.
is up there.
All right, I'm going to say we went over the incursion changes. Let's talk about delve for a sec, because deep delving has been nerfed, and now the wealth is being distributed to the norms who don't go that deep.
Cool.
Yay.
Didn't they give the deep delvers a bigger variety of rewards?
Says
Is that kind of a nerf to
Are you
This
talking about
summary that I'm
originally or
reading-
with the change?
Says Delve has had a big
Yeah.
increase in early rewards and a large reduction in rewards spawning at very deep depths.
Yeah, but I think they said like so at a point. I think it's like what depth 2000 or something. It only spawns fossils, and I think now they changed it so it's not just fossils anymore.
Yep.
I'm
I mean,
pretty
that's
sure that's
fine.
what they did. So like it could be a buff to them. I'm not quite sure, but overall I like that it just spreads out the fossil reward. Not like I delve for fossils anyways. I just, buy them in bulk. Somebody else does that and I buy them.
I don't think I'm ever going to be a deep delver, so.
It's fun and terrible.
And terrible. See?
And
See?
terrible. Yeah. Well, it's like when you find out that your character can only make it to 800 and you're like, well, that kind of sucks. I wanted to go further. Right? Like that's all. That's where it's terrible, is that the fact that you just wanted to push it further, but this is officially your hard block and you either got to go ZHP or make something tankier
All right.
with more damage.
Betrayal changes. Killing Katarina is going to make them drop tier 4 versions of their rewards. Now, I wonder if we will kill Katarina. Will
What
you
is-
kill Katarina?
So Gilded Sextants, right?
Mhm.
No,
it's
wait,
us,
not
like,
gilded.
Scarabs.
Winged.
What are they called?
Winged
Winged.
scarabs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
Wi-
thinking that. I was
winged
planning on killing her
scarabs.
anyways because, like, I for the last 2 leagues have been like, I'm gonna set up my betrayal board, and then I never do. So, like, my plan this league, anyways, was just to farm Katarina because it's just one of those things, like, where you guys maybe don't do as much delve stuff. I just don't engage with betrayal that much outside of upgrading the old breach stones.
Sometimes I
How
get
do
people
you
in the right spot
feel-
and then I use them as much as I can, but usually I've never gotten
Yeah.
my board to the exact perfect spot.
How do you feel about the staff they added? The new
I think it's kind of
Paradoxica.
neat. Everything would have to like happen perfectly for I think it to be usable, but I think there's fringe cases that it'll be really neat for. Like I look forward to seeing those showcases on the subreddit eventually. You know,
Yeah.
and people have like this awesome staff and this build, and it just demolishes everything because the stars align for like Flame Blast or something.
Flame.
I
or
bet there will
flame
be like a lot of people, including myself, who will probably get the staff and not unveil anything and then sell it to all the people who want a Gamba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
There are so many changes that are Gamba in like really nice Gamba choices for you, Val.
I mean, maybe listen.
This is your league.
maybe
They said it was Pie League, but it's Vel League for sure.
It depends. It just highly depends on how much you want to gamba. It's everybody's league. It's just when you want to walk away. Do you want to walk away when you lose all your mirror cards, or do you want to keep a couple? I'm the type that will walk away when I lose them all. Okay, so I expect this league is zero profit for me. Okay,
But I hope you
She's
are
got to
very...
have the pain to have the peaks, okay? It
I
just
expect
goes
you to
together.
be very jolly in all the next 3 months worth of baited expectations.
No, there's gonna be ups and downs. Belle's gonna come back and be like, I want so much stuff, and then the next episode be like, oh no, you guys.
I lost
And then,
it all.
yeah. But the Nippos will be satisfied.
Very satisfied for a while. Okay. I just know it. Just by the first ledge, when I do the first league stone, I just know I'm gonna get something good. I'm gonna ramp it. I'm gonna get something even better. I'm gonna ramp it. I'm gonna lose XP. Wait, I can't. It's only ledge, so it's fine.
We'll be fine. We'll be okay. We'll survive. All right. Let's roll through this. We got a few more to get onto. Incubators. Let's yay. They include the rest of the game. Yay.
Hmm.
I'm tired of them.
I was giving them away by like full inventories. I did so many
Exactly.
simulacrums
Maybe
farming
there's
to
a
100.
recipe.
I just was like, I don't know, man.
Here.
All right.
Yeah.
We did talk a little bit about the new blighted oil, right? But we didn't talk
little.
about how blighted maps are going to be affected by quant, from rolling chests and stuff. Well, hang on. Rolling the maps with quant will affect chests. Yay. Anointments of blighted maps have been reworked so that they will have more impact. And keen to see that one shake out.
Yeah, for sure.
Will you guys do blighted content?
I usually do a couple, like here and there. I guess it depends on like how desperate I am for my first anoint. Is usually what determines how many I do, and it's usually just early on and then never again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty same with me. Is it's usually like, how much is this going to cost? Is it realistic that I could get those oils in a couple blighted maps, or just by doing blights in maps? And if it's not, then how much does it cost? Because if it's not like less than 10 maps, I'm not probably gonna do it. And it was a
The
challenge. That's why I
timer.
did it this league.
Yeah, Val.
They just shred my computer still. The
Really?
like the stun towers still like it gets bad with enough of like the rumble towers within the empower towers, and then you get the little helicopters everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's instances of poison, good luck. I mean,
Yep. Want to cap out your processor real fast? Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
I usually skate by most of the performance issues, but for some reason blights are still rough on my computer.
It's yeah. I tried Cobra Lash because it came out in blight on a blight, and it capped out my processor because I wasn't doing enough damage to kill the mobs in time. So I was just stacking endless instances of poison, and my poor processor was like, I don't know how to deal with, and I had to quit that. I had to quit the build. I couldn't actually do it. Like my poor processor couldn't. It was screaming at me, But blight maps have a 5-minute timer, therefore I hate them. Even though some maps I take 10 minutes in, it's the timer that gets me. So I don't run them unless I have to. And I had to this league for the challenge, but never unless I have to. Although, do I run every time I see her in a map for no reason, even though I hate them? Yes, I do, because I'm broken. I'm just like, oh, there she is. Better click on her.
I like blight content, but I didn't play during Blight League, so I don't have like the trauma of Blight League when I see her. I really enjoyed her in Metamorph, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Blighted maps are fun. I never really like got very far with finishing blighted maps. I tried to do a few this past league, and I got so many uniques that like monsters that just like took me. They just took me. It was very sad. So like, I don't know. Maybe I think my thing for the next league is like I just want something that will clear really well. Maybe ball lightning or something.
That's why I did VD for those. I literally made VD because I had 18 more blight maps to do, and I'm like, I can just stand in place and be like, and they just go out to each side, and I'm like, it's good. It's good. I don't have to move at all unless there's proximity shield. Then I only have to move a tiny, tiny bit, and it's good because it sucks otherwise. Like they shouldn't have proximity shield. I'm just gonna say that right now because it's stupid. All right, that's why.
Okay, we have
bad for performance.
We have far too much proximity shield stuff, and allies cannot die. And no, they're still not addressing that. And it was totally brought up in the Q&A and in the Rory Baycast. And very times they were like, yeah, it's not going anywhere.
They like it. They've said before they like allies cannot die. They like these things. They're not going to... If they like it, they're going to keep it. And that's just... I like that they're a company that keeps to their principles. Like we think this is good. We have a reason for it. Yeah, we don't agree, but we're not the brains behind the operation. We're just the players who are like, but we hate it.
We do hate it.
This is the
maybe
thing.
Hot take. I don't hate it.
You don't hate it? You don't hate allies cannot die?
Well, there's almost always a totem. I don't really like when it's not a totem.
Yeah.
and it's like one of the big
I'll give
guys.
you
If it's a
that.
totem, then it's not so bad. Proximity
I'll give you
shield
that.
definitely I don't like in blighted maps, but I kind of think it's fun. It's especially as somebody who plays ranged, dodgy spell characters. I'm like, ooh, I'm in danger. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of like
It's
it. I don't know.
I don't
It's
like it
more
in
for the-
Delve.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Delve is a bad place too for it, but ooh.
Shove me in a
It's a-
narrow ass hallway with like 4-packs like coalescing on this one rare that has allies can't die, and my cart is leaving my ass behind. It is not a good feeling.
I'm
Please,
having traumatic flashbacks.
It's really just when it becomes a performance issue, right? When there's so
Yeah,
many
absolutely.
guys grouped under the proximity, when there's so many guys grouped and the allies cannot die, where you're like, am I are we dying? Are we...
Am I out of phasing?
That's where it's annoying.
Is my phasing flask empty?
I
Genuine feel. That
Can I
happened to
start
me once.
touching your shoulder.
He always
Heart
does
just
this.
melted.
I know.
Sorry.
He's a good boy there.
He's very good.
I think we talked
very
about all
hungry.
the rework stuff.
There was one that I haven't said, and then there's one thing, and then we can go back to Ultimatum.
Okay.
2 new catalysts coming from Metamorph, and one of them is enhancing speed modifiers, which I think is really cool.
Yep.
The other one's for crit modifiers, and crit, needs love. So give crit the love.
Please.
Sometimes.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
wait, so crit on my rings and belt. You know what I'm gonna do?
And
I'm gonna get a
amulet. Yeah,
belt.
there's good crit
An
multi
amulet.
on amulets.
I'm gonna get a
Decent.
belt with crit and move speed on flask. No, wait, that doesn't work. I'm gonna use both things. Listen, it started off good, but it ended bad.
I'm just really, I like that there's like 2 more in the pool, which means like the pool of like shit catalysts is like a lot smaller than the pool of like good catalysts. Catalysts.
And then when you start getting a bunch of the ones that you're not going to use,
You just
you
trade
know,
them.
you can always trade those in and hope that you get one of the good ones back.
Okay,
Yeah, I
and
think it's
then
cool.
the final thing that I want to point out, we don't need to talk about harvest changes, we did that in our last episode, is specific league mechanic items will be dropping from their respective league mechanics more often. Quote
I think
Rory.
it's fair.
Pro or con?
I mean, if it's dropping more often, I think it's good.
I
I'm pretty
think it's
neutral
good,
on it.
but I don't want to present it good and then just be like, you guys have to agree with me now.
No, I generally think it's good because like the past couple of more recent leagues have, like, they offer a variety of rewards from other leagues. So like you instead of getting Parandus coins from a box and 15 stacks of 2, you could just click like 300 out of the ritual window or get 5,000 from harvest.
Got way
So,
more
like,
Parandus coins from Ritual.
I hope it's a dedication to like making sure that some like, and on one hand I really liked sort of like the getting a little bit of everything all the time. But with the new end game, with it being really specialized in certain areas, yielding certain rewards, I think it's like it makes where you stay more competitive now, and I think that's a good change versus everything being kind of diluted with a little bit of everything.
I think ever since Legion, nearly all of the leagues have been, let's give you access to other league content through this league, which has been a design choice that we've talked about a lot on the podcast. It's just, it seems inconsistent with other design philosophies in the game.
Yeah, like I think having the possibility for other content is okay, but when it seems like the weighting between the content you're doing and the items associated with that and then other random stuff, like if I'm opening a Parandus chest and I don't see any Parandus coins, which has happened many times this league when I was doing like Parandus scarabs, I'm like, What? Why? Why is this a Parandus chest if there's not even a single coin in it? That doesn't make any sense. So it is a bit of like the waiting issue.
There was a point in the video, I don't know, it wasn't Piranha's chest an example, but the person who was going around opening regular chests in the game and had a loot filter on or didn't have loot tags or something, and every single chest was empty, and I was like, there's a deliberate reason that Chris's voiceover is over this point talking about rewards and how nothing is showing up without like pointing out that the loot filter is covering everything.
They were in the Adziri's Vaults map, the one that I call the wine and cheese map, where you just want to sit and click and hope you get some loot. But most of the time, you don't get. You open like the 2 big large chests in the middle of each room, and then you can basically go home.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell for the preview, when they were doing high level content, they were only dropping high level bases. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It was something I noticed in the videos that they were showing like none of those shit bases. We all know the ones. None of those. It was all the Vol Vergalias and astral plates and things like that. And I was like, I don't know if it was a filter or if that's them doing something for like, let's say you're doing an 83 map, then you get 83 equivalent gear, which would include those instead of those shit bases. I don't know if it's true. It could just be a filter thing. It could have been. But I saw it and I was like, this is intriguing. Why would they show this particular thing in the video?
Yeah, it could be filter, but also it could be not a filter.
Ooh. Interesting. They don't normally use like a filter that changes how the gear shows up. They usually, if they were to use a filter, like it would just be to obscure stuff, I think.
Yeah, they wouldn't put like the fancy colors and different box sizes and text sizes.
They should.
Okay. Let's circle back to what BK wanted to talk about with Ultimatum.
Okay, so we have footage of the like the lead mechanic being played. There's actually a lot of noteworthy quality of life improvements just by watching the footage. The first is that there is a freeze time when you are interacting with the Ultimatum menu. So like how Shaper freezes when he used to do his little like speech things and run away. When you are in that inventory and you're looking at like what you want to choose, like are you going to risk it or leave, there's a time freeze. So that no more getting wailed on by incursion mobs exploding or anything like that, like or like Alva trying to make that decision when there's a bunch of stuff attacking you, like which room do you choose, where do you go
all the time.
So there's like this actual freeze time that happens, and that is actually huge because like this is our kind of first league being presented where we have to like think a little bit while things are still like essentially active. Because like ritual, like you looked when it was done, sort of thing, to see what unlocked or whatever. So this is like the ongoing thing. So I thought that was really, really, really awesome. And then I kind of touched on this earlier that the mods are actually different than map mods. They're scaling all sorts of different attributes that are new.
I noticed that. Yeah.
So like there was one where it made the arena smaller, so you can like purposefully give yourself a larger area of denial to give yourself like less area to room. There was one that worked sort of like a soften range, where monsters like got like more fast.
They get more speed as time goes on.
Right, but what does that mean? Like onslaught, and then they scale onslaught effect as time goes on, because that can make things like super nasty depending on what that is.
Right.
And then those are occurring on top of normal map modifiers. So that's like, it's really, really like the difficulty curve on that is like huge, and I'm really, really excited about it. But I think this is like a huge opportunity, and I think my tinfoil hat theory of like what this league is like for and about is I think they're going to be farming us for data to make boss fights more compelling. They're going to basically make us engage with these mods and these mechanics, and then they're balancing that by how much we're willing to risk and our confidence in certain mechanics being chosen. So like you're gonna see some of these new ones and be like, oh yeah, I can do that one because it's this reward and I can handle that mod. So they'll figure out like what are actually like good behaviors and like what are things that people willingly engage with, even when up against losing something.
Like even and conversely on that, if there's a super good reward but there's a specific mod that nobody is willing to engage with to get
and
that.
they know they don't just make the boss encounter with that and then people go like, you know, have a Cyrus reaction to a boss encounter. They've got data now that correlates that like this mod in an action RPG setting doesn't work. It's not good. It interrupts the flow of combat or whatever else. And so like that's my favorite thing about this is that this is a bossing league without being a bossing league, you know?
Right.
I would take it one tinfoil hat further because I don't know if you noticed, but there's a mechanic to disable most of your flasks.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was straight up.
Do you think are they going to test it for PoE2, right?
Yeah.
Right?
There was even a question was in the Q&A about the flask system and then or was it Bakelast? I don't know, one of them, and they were like, yet. Like there's no solution to that yet.
Yeah.
They have flasks in the PoE2 gameplay video.
They do.
Yeah, because they haven't fixed it in PoE1. If they fix it in PoE1, it will happen the same with PoE2.
They were saying that they're working on it, but they don't want to put in a bunch of half measures before they have a real concrete solution. So I think that this could be another way that they could maybe like, oh, what if we do 2 flasks and then I don't know.
How important are flasks in the long run to these encounters being done or difficult encounters being done?
Or even weighing those, against certain types of mods
that's gonna screw up the data that I'm worried about is that this entire mechanical or league mechanic is completely susceptible to what like I guess we can call the metamorph effect, where like we're gonna get these inscripted whatever, what are they called? Inscribed ultimatums.
The map
and
ones,
we're gonna take them to their little and we're gonna put them on our map device and they're gonna be sissies because they don't have map mods. Like it's going to be this like I hope it's not the same thing. Right? Because that's what happened in Metamorph. You fight the Metamorph in the map, it kicks your ass, you take the part back to the lab, and then you fight basically a kitten.
Yeah. A little
like
so true.
And this is the exact same like type of stage mechanic. That's what they wanted to do in Metamorph, and I hope they've thought enough in advance about this to like buff those baseline by a certain amount, like how Poor Joys is just generically harder in like a certain way to those areas too. Like I hope though that baseline area has like some sort of base mods to it. Because it's going to be so disappointing.
But maybe the ramp up is enough to murder us.
I just want the one that says like put in 10 and get 20 to like actually be like if that's just so easy to farm, then it's going to feel real bad.
Yeah, it's got to be really tough if you can't roll it. And because I mean, some people would roll it, but most people, even if you could roll it, probably wouldn't roll it because you could potentially get the same rewards.
Yeah, like you can't add, it doesn't like they're that weird golden-ish color where you can't like craft them.
Yeah.
So
do you think they're gonna ever ask for like put in a mirror, get 2 mirrors back? Well, like do you think? I don't think so. Come on.
I think anything could possibly show up because they showed us a variety of like currency, div cards, and uniques where you could put in like
the nurse.
Yeah.
They love to demo shit.
It was like bring Whispering Ice and get like some crazy
get
ass
Void
reward.
Battery.
I forget what it was. Yeah, Void Battery back.
Yeah.
The crit maracas. Like, that's cool. I just want it to be on the scale of everything else, though.
They really do love to demo everything with
good mod testing.
The level of fear.
Excited. So excited.
And I'm just generically glad there's some group play thought to this one too.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. It's not just that you get your own rewards so you don't have to share, because I don't share. I don't share my loot. But not only do
No.
you get to have separate loot, you also can back out early and say, I'm good. I'm going to take this loot. You can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Question then is
Yeah.
that, does the encounter still count as two people in terms of the difficulty?
Mm.
Or
If there's any
bats are
like
gonna
extra
get
life.
paid. I mean, they're
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, finally.
Or
I
bots get something
mean,
out of the deal in
Yeah,
addition to a
for
split.
real. I think it's cool. I mean, I'm not completely, I doubt I'll be doing it often, but it certainly made me think about doing more party play.
Yeah. It's funny though. I think I said this to my chat when we were watching the announcement. I was like, okay, so they're supporting party play with this, but then there's the rest of the game.
but that's just the rest of the game. This is new and exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two things with Ultimatum that we kind of didn't really talk about. The spell gem and supports and the change to low life. I just wanted to say that the previous criticism that I've had of like new skills or changes to skills in leagues has been not like it's not been thematically tying into that league itself, but I will say that this is one of the cases where it really does, because it's all blood skill reworks and life based, and that's very appropriate. So yay, kudos. I like the theming. Do you guys want to talk about the changes to low life and so on?
I mean, I think the changes to low life are interesting. It's cool to see some supports, and I think they called it a buff, not an aura, with the petrified blood. But to see things that are going to be benefiting low life. I haven't done a lot of low life myself, mostly just because I'm cheap when I'm making my builds. But I certainly know a lot of people who do, and even if I wasn't going to do low life, there's some of the new skills look super, super interesting to me. I would
Yeah.
like to exsanguinate. I can't pronounce it, but I want to do it.
You want to bleed someone out?
Blood tentacles, AoE, like it's like blood glacial cascade is kind of what it looks like, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Between the corrupted blood business and the reap, where I'm not going to share that joke. It's too much. But I'm just going to say reap. Well, let's just say we're talking about reap and reaping and what that may look like, and then I'll just let your mind go from there. Anyways, we're very excited about reap. I was in Discord talking with people, and we're all very excited about it. And it's like a physical damage over time spell.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So is exsanguinate and corrupting blood, but they all have like different levels of hit or just phys damage over time, which is super interesting that they're adding so many physical spells.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I can only get 80% spell impale chance with 2 damn replica heartbreakers. I don't want to do that. It's not very fair. I want to get it easier.
And Valskill's getting more charges or something, so we can use them more often.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that. And I think more from bosses as well.
Yeah, per
Which is good.
percentage of before you kill them. Yeah, Reap looks cool. It looks cool. I am a little skeptical of the idea of basically charging with Reaps in terms of if that's going to be a lot of, start and stop standing in place. But if you can get really big AoE on that, that'd be pretty dope.
Ooh. It's not gonna be my first start though. I'm never doing that shit again. Okay.
What, doing a new skill for League start?
Wasn't it Cracklance that done you dirty?
Yeah, crack. Yeah, crack long dong. He turned into yeah, that's his name. That was his name. And he turned back into Stormbrand, which was a low life Stormbrand, but yeah.
Look, I thought I learned my lesson with Lancing Steel, but basically last league was the only league that I didn't start with a new skill. So what was I gonna do? Start with Hydrosphere? Like that's a little risky even for me. But I think I'm gonna have to try
I
one.
ended
I
up
don't
throwing
learn.
it on my build.
Flame Wall Fireball is such a good league starter, and I'm still just like, yeah, but what that Exsanguinate do? Exsanguinate. Why would they name it that though? Like real talk.
That's the word.
Sanguine,
That's a
I get
word.
it. Blood.
It means
Blood.
to
Exsanguinate.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to be like paid for winning the spelling bee every time I say this word. That's like a $5 word, man.
And how would you use it in a sentence?
It's invested on the
Was
syllables.
the body
I understand.
exsanguinated?
I'm really excited about it. I think the low life changes are very, very interesting in the like hybridization world. Like the fact that you can get low life benefits at 50% means that like life energy hybrids possibly can dip into that little bit of extra power. With of course risk, but less so, I guess. So there's like more room for that. I don't know enough about the skills already to like have any sort of opinions. I feel like I'm globally excited about all the changes, but I don't have enough applications where they would probably be like good to like understand what all of this means. So like I look forward to exploring like petrified blood and some of these other things, especially like exsanguinate is like maybe mines if you can find enough like global chain sources, because they can't do projectile chain sources because it's not a projectile. So like there's some interesting challenges to be done.
Yeah,
but like it's hard for me to like be super excited about right now because I'm not going to start any of that.
You gotta see the level 20
That's
gems
smart.
too, because sometimes they start out really good with the level 1 and then you see the progression and you're like, oh no, that's not very good. Because like Exsanguinate has pretty good base numbers, but it's level 1. So like what does that mean? That doesn't
Flashback to heist.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Okay, final ultimatum thing to mention is the bringing back of reliquary keys as well reliquary keys. What have you guys interacted with I can't say this one. Okay, this is my $5 word.
This is your Exsanguinate.
Yeah. Have you interacted with a reliquary key before, and how did it go? And please explain what it is for the newbies and me.
I dropped 2 in Delve. It is like a
Yo,
little
they
thing
could drop in Delve?
They dropped in Delve League. It was the last time they were on the loot table.
I live with so many regrets not doing Delve. Oh, continue.
They're like a little thing you put in the map device. It opens up an area, and the area has a chest in the center of it. You click it, a foil version of an item comes out. This time it's significant because everything has an even weighting, and then everything is Val themed. But the 2-head in me can't understand. Like I don't. Is Val themed items a category they're creating now, and then going back through everything and just saying all this is Val stuff?
Right, because there's like the Absiri stuff, the Doriani stuff, but there's also like the Demon Stitcher. That stuff's from Incursion. Like those.
Yeah, like what is Val? Like yeah, I feel like they're just gonna like group a bunch of stuff together and create this category for us. And I think like once we see the things that category encompasses more accurately, I think is like when the pog factor of how good this key is. I mean, like we're talking like Series Reflection, like the mirror, but that's a faded unique, so maybe not that one. But like there's still a decent amount of drops across it. I mean, I don't know how significant it'll be in like trades off core.
Is it gonna do double legacies Cowums?
No, I don't think the one in Delving didn't either. It was just like, oh, it's shiny. It's the same thing, but it's shiny. You can have shiny headhunter.
Yeah, I got one and it was not a good unique, but it was shiny.
Back in the day when the league first came around, some guy got a double legacy Cowums and he sold it for measly 80 exalt. And that was measly because it was 1,000 life, not 500.
Oh man.
So it was poggers. Okay, it was I would go as far as poggies. So if we could get this kind of Hoggies kind of stuff again, then it's gonna be the biggest gamba of gambas, because when I did that league, I got Calm's sign, you know, the ring. I got the
Yeah.
ring one. It was trash, and then I got it again. So yeah, but if it's only like, if it's is it gonna be just things of the Vol? Is it gonna be everything? Is it gonna be anything
It's
that's
only
like
going to be things of the
legacy?
Vol.
Yeah, it's Val
But
themed only, and then it'll be shiny.
And we don't know if there's any difference in
Oh,
terms of like the roles, if it is legacy Vol stuff or if it's just regular stuff that's shiny and it's just because it has equal weighting that like, oh, I'm more likely to get at series disfavor or something that's kind of harder to get normally. And now it's shiny. Cool. I don't think it's going to be legacy items. I think it's literally just going to be shiny.
It's like,
I'm like
pretty
shiny.
sure disfavor was nerfed, and so like that would be pretty pog if it brought back a legacy disfavor.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be legacy because before they were, if I remember correctly, or at least they could be
barely nerfed. That
Um,
was significant.
But yeah,
Was
I mean,
significant enough.
the reliquary keys were super, super rare last time. I think I got one,
Right.
maybe two.
They were super rare, but like proportionally, like the loot that they offered was like incredibly valuable, like Headhunter. This one has a diminished pool, which a lot of it gets completely eroded by trade softcore leagues within like a week. So I'm really worried about this being so rare, but then like they've got to put some pretty good shit in there, I think, for it to retain a value in trade for how rare it is.
Okay. Interesting.
Otherwise, it's just going to be another meme.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just picturing the memes and the memes. Oh no, I'm all concerned. Okay, let's talk about PoE2. Are we ready to move on to PoE2?
Are you ready?
I feel like we have to like unleash Noodle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to bother going around and asking for first impressions. Noodle's been sitting on this for the whole morning.
This is the point where you pause it. If you're listening later, you go get yourself a fine scotch, something else. Maybe make a little fire. Grab the things that make you feel cozy and cuddle up to lore time with Noodle. Okay, now you hit play again.
Oh man, that was an excellent intro. Thank you, Brittleknee, for introducing us to Lore Master Noodle. I didn't have a good... We're falling off the seat here. Okay, so in the PoE2 walkthrough of gameplay, one of the first things that they mention is that you're on a moving caravan in the Vastiri Desert, and that you are going against a group of Faradun. This was a concept first introduced in Heist. Both of the caravan and the Faradun were introduced in Heist. So Ninette, probably the most interesting and most neglected character from Heist, considering they didn't end up implementing any of her actual quests, is a Faradun, which is the Mariketh rejects. They kind of have a Spartan ritual where anybody who has any physical defects is left to the desert to die. Now, it's presumed most of those babies die. The only other person we'd seen is Tasuni, who was found, and so the Mariketh took him back thinking they drop off the babies to give to the gods, and so they assumed that since they found him alive that he was given to them by God and they had to keep him. But most of the babies, I'm assuming, either die or disappear, and the ones that disappear are taken up by this group called the Faradun, who's gathered them all together as like a wandering tribe of misfits. And so Ninette was supposed to have storyline that would reveal stuff about the Faradun. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't know if it's canon, considering they didn't implement it, but she was trying to find like an ancient leader of the Faradun who was potentially a god, just to find out if he was real. Either way, Adia, who is, the portal person in Heist, has some quests that have to do with her sister. And she mentions offhand, she's like, I don't want to say what tribe I'm from, but I'm from a tribe of Mariketh who live in the northern Vastiri Plains who live on caravans. And our caravans are being hijacked and stuff. So now we're finally seeing this sort of merging of these two storylines of Adia with her caravans, which, oh my god, the caravan is so beautiful. I know we'll talk about that, but I just have to say that because it looks so pretty. She even mentions, Adia even says, the caravan with like colorful tapestries and moving metal ornaments. So you're like, this is literally, that is the same tribe. So now we know what they're called. They're called, I don't know, it starts as an A. Doesn't matter. But they're fighting the Faradun that Ninette was once part of, which isn't surprising. Adia obviously has a lot of hatred for Ninette, but they talk about their king, named the Perennial King, that we see a little bit of the boss fight of, who is not mentioned by Ninette, but I am wondering, because we saw that, if we're going to see stuff in PoE1 that's going to lead up to this idea of either learning more about Adia's caravans or learning more about Ninette and the Faradun. But even like little things, like they showed the Mastodon. Irasha talks about going into a place where there's Mastodon bones, and like this is an ancient like Mariketh monster. Like it's so freaking cool to be able to see all these little pieces going together. And now I'm wondering if they didn't include Ninette's story because it was revealing too much, or if they're going to expand on that later. But either way, I am so excited, and I'm so relieved that they're finally. I was so worried that they were just going to introduce the concept of the Faradun and then be like, JK, nothing about that. Don't worry about that. Coolest thing, probably like what Tasuni would be, and like a very interesting and mysterious group of people. Nah. So yeah, I liked it.
Liked it a lot?
I liked it a lot. Oh man. But even the idea of being on the caravan and choosing different places to go, I don't know if that's going to be exclusionary, right? Where you get to pick the next place you're going to go in the caravan if that means you can't go somewhere else afterwards.
It's choose your own adventure, and they were talking about it in the Q&A, I think. But it's like if the caravan has been through this location, then there's like a before and after version of each of those locations.
Oh, that would be cool, right? If the order of what you're doing affects what's happening there the next time, or the time that you decide to go there.
Yeah. And
God.
I mean, like the storylines would have to close still at the end of the act and then go into 3, but that's awesome that you can kind of like shift those pieces in the meantime. Like, 'cause it sounds like Act Boss is going to be Act Boss no matter what, but the roads to get there differ. I mean, like ultimately, if we're talking about like, you know, like racing and everything else, like the rewards will ultimately determine like what order those go into. Like if it's a weapon or a movement speed reward or something like that, like clearly there'll be a way to go through them. But it makes me excited to, you know, be however many years in the future it's going to be before you get to sit down to this and like know that sort of like, it's one of the things I liked a lot about Mass Effect, right? So I like the decisions sort of impacting different things. And it was something that they said back in ExileCon was that the, you know, like the next, like PoE2 is going to have like less reliance on like the waypoint system. Remember how they tried to change the lines and we all freaked out about it?
Yes.
And then they had to change it back. Yeah. Like this is probably why. It's because they're working on this to like, you know, introduce this concept.
I wonder how meaningful the choices will be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we didn't see the whole act. Like, the act doesn't end when you get to the caravan. That's actually, like, I think the act itself is on the caravan, and it's just the part we saw was mostly getting to it.
Yeah, because the caravan acts as the town.
And that was what was really exciting to me, honestly, was, like, they showed us a lot of content. Like, a lot of little mini boss fights, a lot of, like, traversing through different areas, and that was just, like, this little tiny bit at the beginning, and I'm sure there's people that aren't that interested in it, but for me, like, I like that has depth again, I guess, going through the different acts and everything.
Yeah,
like there'll be a lot of things to do again instead of just like cut through here, do this, cut through there, do that, make sure you're this level before you do this boss. And I don't know, like I'm looking forward to getting lost in the whole story of it again.
Yeah. The one thing I was really hype about was just the boss bars.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
It was
that
so
is.
good. It was so good.
Oh, and
Oh,
the
the-
mastodon looked so cool. The, like bone
Mhm.
elephant thing, the way just the animation of it swinging its head looked so smooth. Oh, so good.
Okay, there's quite a few
I-
things that we
I-
got. So I was gonna ask you guys what your biggest takeaway was. I know Noodle's biggest takeaway would be the Faradin lore. Bell's is the boss bars. BK biggest takeaway?
I finally have the closure I need to get over why we had Heist League. Like, clear.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I can finally come to terms with why that happened to us.
Oh my god.
And we
was a
can
bad
move
time
on
to
because
drink.
it was definitely for good things, right? So
It was
Oh,
all for the
fucking
best, you
got
know.
him, dude. Oh my god,
Oh,
that's so
yikes.
good. Yeah, I mean, they blue balled me so hard with Heist League. They're like, you know, you're not gonna love the mechanic, but here's some really interesting lore, and we left out the only actually like meaningful and interesting pieces.
I
So
always thought it was really weird that Heist out of like left field had so many Marikath assets. I thought it was just because like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, like this is pretty. Like I had like it was just really weird that all of a sudden this like Marikath stuff shows up again.
they
Now we know.
introduced the Faradin. They introduced that Solaris and Lunaris might be linked to the Marikath, and then they're like multiple people, not only multiple people with Marikath, but like multiple quest lines, like Nashta being a Marikath person that you're fighting as well. And then they're just like,
Yeah, I mean, like, and basically, the Marikath culture is basically a town you stomp through 2 times on your way to maps and never think about again. And even then, you're like, I don't know, like, this guy gets the feather. I don't fucking know about your culture. I'm out of here. Gotta
Yeah.
go kill Kitava. Like, it's so glazed over, and then all of a sudden, we got a bunch of it. It was like, it's kind of peculiar.
well, and it was sort of implied before, but it was a revelation to have it confirmed that that's not like the only Marikath. Like the entire desert has different Marikath tribes, but like for a long time, the Highgate people were the only ones we heard of. It was implied with things like, oh, Sekima Deshret, and before her Sekima Asenath, like united all the Marikath. But that could just mean like, I don't know,
We
all the
helped out,
20
like,
people
one,
sitting
yeah.
on the mountain. You know?
And I'm just like, wait. Asenath? United Marikath? Asenath was Marikath? Like, I'm just over here like, what? That's exciting. That's very exciting.
Yep.
So who do you guys give the feather to? Just as an aside.
I give
Always
it to Arasha.
her. Yeah, always.
You can't give it to.
Arasha.
If I hear any of you giving it to Tasuni, I'm gonna give you such an annoying
Tasuni
and informative
is-
lecture.
His
piece of
salt
shit.
factor after you give it to her is the best part, though.
Yeah.
He has
That's-
like big drama speech. He's like,
He's
it shan't be enough that the desert took my eyes. Blah 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 blah. blah.
I
And
don't
you're
give a
like,
shit
dude,
about your
sit down.
eyes.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so dramatic. He's like,
I mean,
I see that I am not only doomed to be blind, but also have my fate ripped away from me by some outsider.
his
And you're
fate.
like,
Yeah.
Bullshit. Dude, not
Okay,
even.
guy.
Okay. Irasha or whatever, she was over there taking care of the dinosaurs. What was he doing? Sitting on his perch being a little bitch. All right. What was he
Being a
doing when
little
he come back in
spooky
Act
bitch.
9?
A little
Being a little
spooky
spooky
bitch who's like,
little spooky
ooh, I
bitch.
can see the god on your shoulders, and also I'm talking to Malachi. And you're
Ew.
like, okay.
Okay, well
calm
then tell him to
down.
stop. Just tell him to stop then, you bitch.
He doesn't want
You
him
know,
to
he
stop.
does. No, of course he doesn't want him to be stopped because he's like, now I can gain power. And that's how you know he sucks.
Yeah. Gotta
Okay?
watch out for that
That's how
guy.
you know. Yeah. Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly.
Ooh. Ooh. Sorry, I just got very
Yeah.
excited. In
Yeah.
the PoE2 trailer, they keep mentioning a seed of corruption, which is language that we've heard before, kind of with like the harvest stuff, but that's corruption is more talked about with like you know, the whole beast and nightmare and Malachi thing. but they keep saying that we have to find the seed of corruption and stop it spreading. And like, I have this big thing that I think Tasuni is going to try to do something with the beast. He's super into it, and I'm like, okay, interesting. We go to the Marraketh. I know Tasuni's a sus little bitch, and there's a seed of corruption. It means.
Do we know what the heart or the seed of corruption is?
No.
Like Eddie, and this is the first time it's been mentioned.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in the first PoE2 trailer, but now it's like all over the second one. It's like the seed of corruption.
Yeah, because they frame that entire trailer on its presence.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, that kind of language is used when talking about the nightmare and Malachi and all that jimma jamma.
I'm curious if is it just the plot device to Act 2, or is it like the main thread through the new acts? Like, is it the you know, like, how important is this? Is this just like the go here and get this and power up and move on sort of seed of corruption, or is this like world ending? We all must like try to overcome this terrible thing happening to our world, sort of thing.
That's a good question. I might have to rewatch them because I did feel like this was the first time hearing about it. And so I was wondering if it was just an Act 2 thing, but I don't know. Also the lighting. Okay, in the trailer when they have the room that you go into that has a bunch of mobs standing still and you're like going up a little pyramid type thing into the middle, and just like the lighting of your character and all the mobs like getting close to you. Oh my, it looked so smooth.
It was definitely like, because the improvements in Act 1 were very noticeable, and to a certain degree, like, because of the sort of like dark and dismal setting of Act 1, like, you can kind of use shadows to your advantage to make things not like look better than they are, because you can hide a lot of textures in like areas that wouldn't be displayed. And so like Act 1 looked good, but I wasn't really convinced entirely. I was just like how awesome the graphics were going to be. And then like D4 came out in the meantime, and like it looks all right. Like some of the environments that they've made and stuff looks like generally pretty cool. And it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure they can keep up. And then like this comes out, and there's no doubt about it. Like, you cannot hide bad textures in a fucking desert. Like, it is very realistic. It looks good. The shadows are dynamic. Like, I love it.
I have one gripe. I noticed that there was a pillar, and then when they walked by that pillar, there was no orb to see myself. And I'm like, this is the kind of invisible shit I'm talking about, dude. This is like, you know, there was no little orb to see yourself past. Overall, it looks really good. Like, most things are from the side. It's very clear. The visuals are good. But I saw that one pillar, and it reminded me of dying to this tree, lightning mirage tree situation, and I molded. And I was like, oh my God.
Someone's having lava lake flashbacks over here.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God,
Exactly.
those trees are so bad.
Yeah, the pillar
Oh.
just brought it all back to me. So yeah, I'm like, that's my only gripe so far about everything that I've seen, is just like, you got to be able to show me myself behind that pillar, dude. I need to know.
What's going on in this bush, man?
Yeah, I need to know. Please, what's happening in that bush?
What's going on in this bush?
Yeah. I gotta know, dude. I can't be dying to volatile bloods in the bush.
So, yeah, I'll say my biggest takeaway was just, the graphics. And also, it was really cool seeing the dual boss fight, like multiple boss fight. I had Dark Souls vibes seeing that with like 2 bars and like they were doing choreography, and I was like, wow, imagine if the Shaper Elder fight was like that too. And
I did notice the Perennial King fight was red on red though, and I was like,
yeah,
serious.
But imagine if what's her name? She just came to the Maven fight.
Yeah,
had the boss bars, and you could see the XP of all of the bosses.
Dude, that'd be very nice.
So
Especially because
what
she's
a
all
luxury.
teleporty in the last phase, and you're like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I should just start shooting at her and hope that I'm gonna, win, or if I need to be dodging for my life right now.
Can I just say, I saw when they did the master, like the 2 boss thing, and then one boss poured it away for half a second, and people are like, phases, Omega lol. Like, bitch, it wasn't a phase. It wasn't a phase. He literally just poured it. He was just over there. They were like getting all up in arms about phases. No. I just want you guys to know he just poured it, okay? He didn't phase anywhere. Okay. You're good, at least for that boss. I don't know if they're gonna add phasing or not, but just that boss, I saw the Omega Lol phasing. I'm like, I swear he just poured it. Yeah, people are all getting mad about phasing. I'm like, I don't think it's happened yet, guys. We shouldn't be mad yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Maybe soon.
Can we talk about, I guess, crossbows, and
Well,
spears?
Armor piercing
bolts,
bolt.
bolts.
Permafrost
Ice
bolt.
bolt. Oh, was it permafrost?
I think so.
I just heard bolt. Bolt.
I'm glad that they're gonna make it so that you can turn that off, because I was like really into it for a minute, and then I couldn't focus because I was just like, oh, please stop with the voice.
They were just pre-nerfing hit-based elemental ranged attacks again by giving them annoyance factor.
This is a nerf.
Only the truly dedicated can reap these rewards.
Or the
bolts
death.
are pretty pog though, despite the bolt noise.
Yeah,
Like,
I liked the
especially
permafrost bolt.
the rain of arrows permafrost, like, to me, better than the V, because it like put down the frost effect to slow them, and it also it's really
Oh
pog.
yeah. That was like the one they did after. They showed like the
Yeah.
V one first. Yeah.
Yeah. They showed us the
Yeah.
V freezy one first, and then they showed us like it was as if they put in rain of arrows, and then all the bolts changed to like an AoE kind
It
of
was
like
the
different
change
spell.
in the type of, like, in the weapon itself, because the weapons are going to affect how the bolts are fired.
Yeah,
But the bolts
so-
are going to
Yes.
affect what type of damage they inflict. The skill gem, that is. That was. And I said it lent an interesting weight to the bolt item, crossbow item itself.
Wait, yes.
Yes, wait. It feels heavy in my arms.
I mean, crossbows are heavy, I imagined.
They are.
I've never owned one, but I assume a wooden one would be heavy and cumbersome.
Yeah.
Try to load that bitch. Terrible. Think about how fast your character is loading different bolts. Like, she's incredible.
That's muscle memory for real. Especially you
Seriously.
start getting attack speed up, you're just like
Okay, I want to talk about the spear, and there's like the one where it does 3 quick jabs, and I just can't. That's going to be absurd with attack speed.
yeah. Just wang jangling them.
What?
I really like this spear play. Like, it's great. But
Oh, yeah.
also, it's just going to look so stupid.
It's gonna look really stupid, yeah. It's gonna be goofy as hell. Oh.
Because it was already quite fast.
Oh,
I'm
man,
just
I'm already
really excited about combat becoming a system versus like 2 6 links.
Yeah.
Like rather than
Yes.
like playing a bow build and having your AoE clear 6 link and then your single target for single target bossing, blah blah blah. And instead you get to basically have the utility of like fluid combat with all of the PoE we want in it as well, to like kind of harken back to like, I guess, other action RPGs that have like multiple ability combat systems too.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. I like that this, like, because I didn't even correlate that the reason why that we didn't have this sooner was because of the character skeletons. Like, I never thought of that. And it's like so mind opening now to like what we actually could possibly be looking forward to. Like combat not determined simply by just like what skills you have equipped that can just vomit out damage at certain ways, but like how you tactically play as a player and be able to like, if that's what you get out of playing these kind of games, like you can do full immersive like multiple ability combat builds and like it'll feel good. It's like a good system for it.
Yeah, I'm always into like feeling very involved and feeling like the movements and timing of my character is important. So I think having more of that interaction and
it brings kind of like a soulsy feel to it. Like the whole thing I got out of Act 2 videos was like how kind of in that direction we're stepping here with like these smaller arenas, very nice clean choreographed boss fights that we're seeing, health bars. Like I was like, we're getting PoE souls, man. This is awesome.
I think
so.
It really showed that it slowed the game down because you have to have it has to be slower to see all of that.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is ZDPS," and I'm like, maybe you're just forced to be going slower and not just busting through. It's also Act 2, my guy. Like,
it's literally Act 2. How fast you want to go? All right, you're not Tai, my dude. Okay, Tai's gonna kill it, but the rest of us are gonna be playing it like a regular slow ass boss. All right.
Yeah.
This is facts.
I'm gonna be a sloth. It's true.
I'm ready for it. I mean, I'm going to be sitting there no matter what I do. I'm probably going to be reading the whole time, so it's going to take me like 5 times as long as anyone anyway, because I'm going to be reading.
I just the prospect of discovering an entirely new game again, but it's PoE.
I know. I'm gonna go back to where it was when I first started back. I'm gonna like be full clearing entire areas. I'll be reading every single menu. I'll be like interacting with every interactable and waiting patiently for it to like tell me its story. Like, okay.
Yeah, and exploring like full layouts. You wouldn't be like, oh no, a dead end. You're
putting
like
16 skill gems with no actual supports in my gear. Like just not understanding the system anymore. Like it's gonna be great.
I'm ready to relive it.
Yeah.
If you read really fast, though, I think they'll probably add the current thing, which is that if you mouse over the lore while it's rolling through, you can scroll faster. I didn't know that. It's not obvious to me. I had no idea.
I didn't know that. But, dang.
Yeah, the new dialogue system looks really cool. That's like another thing we got hyped for.
Yeah, that was probably the best thing out of Heist.
Wow, not the replica for rules? That's the best thing. That's me.
That thing
the replicas are cool.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's the best thing they've ever. I think it's 80 Exalt right now, maybe more because it's just too good. Who the hell is going to pay 80 Exalt?
You do,
somebody, but
clearly.
Still. Yeah, but I did when it was like 50, so that's different.
I have like a point on my list of things to sort of mention. So I know we're all really excited about like more than 2 6 links in our builds, but watching the gameplay like walkthrough person switch between like 3 different bolts repeatedly had me thinking of my poor fingies. Is anybody worried about their fingies?
Always worried about these bad boys.
I don't think that person, no offense to the person who was that person, but they didn't even wear their precision auras, so I don't really trust them. So, you know, I don't think they needed all those bolts. I think that they just wanted to really show off the bolt's identity, and it didn't really matter. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like I think they were just trying to show off what bolts are all about, but that dude generally was like, there was no precision aura on, so I didn't trust them at all.
Well, yeah, for sure.
And then they almost died.
Well, I mean, they promise that the end game is going to be fast enough eventually already. So, like, there's still probably going to be like a 2 major 6-link archetype of like clear versus single target. So you'll have probably like one bolt that you change to here and there, but it would be like I guess the equivalent kind of now I imagine would be more like how a Caustic Arrow build can go from Arrow Nova to single target with a weapon swap if they craft 2 bows. Like it has that utility, I guess. And because speed will determine how much of the complexity of the weapon systems that you interact with, because I imagine there's still going to be plenty of abilities that give you that speed.
Yeah.
So while we're seeing people put like 4 different bolts in a crossbow doesn't mean that that's going to be sensible long term.
Yeah.
I would
may
like
end
it
up
to be because I
doing, like,
think it's
others.
interesting, but if they're promising that the end game is going to be just as fast, then I can't imagine it'll be that way.
Well, and they had like cold and fire and also physical, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're not going to be
No.
doing a build that's using all 3 of those and scaling efficiently. No,
Shit.
no, you're not.
No.
I don't
did
think
you
so.
guys, was it in Bay class? Like, was there a discussion around PoE2 having its own skill tree, or was it? No, Ziggy asked Chris, and then I feel like my brain switched off, or it was like information overload, and I don't know what the answer was. But is there a different skill tree, or is the current skill tree gonna just?
I was also completely zoning out like pretty quickly into that. Just Farad'n,
I don't think.
I didn't.
I don't think they
Didn't-
know.
All I know is that they said that they wanted to be parallel with PoE1. So I assume if we get anything in PoE1, it will be like the skill tree may just go over to PoE2, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. But that's what they said. But they also didn't they say
Yeah.
like certain ascends would be, or maybe that
Locked to
was just
PoE2?
speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, locked to PoE2, and then I'm like, what if that upsets a lot of people? Although it doesn't really matter. But but like, you know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, I'm ready to try PoE2. I want to be this. I'd play PoE1. She. Like that's the only that's the only thing is that ascents are going to be locked to like one side or the other, but they're all going to connect at the end. And so I imagine whatever they're adding in our game will be added to PoE2, or like an update will be pushed to PoE1. However,
What we do know is going to PoE1 that comes from PoE2 is the new rigging and animations and stuff. Yay!
Big yay.
I want to know though, how hype are you guys? So is everybody on board with the idea? So they put down that flame thing, and then he speared it, and then it went whoosh across the thing and did like a parting.
Oh,
You
the
guys happy
flame
with
thing
that?
that went part of the Red Seas, but
Blazing
flames.
Lance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blazing
Yeah, and
Lance. Yeah, you guys happy about that?
Lion Eye's skill from Legion.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking boosted him. That's not fair.
I feel like
Just like took his skill gem and they're like, bye.
You know what? He wasn't that great. We'll be greater than him.
That's for sure.
Oh shit. I think like it's got to do more damage than or else it's not worth it for me to go boosh. You know what I mean? Like put down the fire and then slam it with my lance, and I don't want to do any of that if it's actually just going to be mediocre DPS. I'm just going to say. Just gonna say right now, I love the idea of combining skills to make something new and exciting.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna be mediocre, I don't want to do it.
That's a lot of
Well,
click.
that's
That's a lot
kind
of
of how it is.
RSI for
That's
not
the
a lot
clicking,
of payoff.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other skill gems share that where they have like 2 abilities in one. There's like Blight kind
EV
of just got the
Contagion.
debuff worked. I know, but I'm thinking more
That's it.
like Incinerate that has like the wave is still part of the main skill. Like it's a
Oh,
2
yeah,
button thing sliced into one. Like we
I
don't have a
guess
lot of
The
examples
steel
of that.
skills have like the call of
Yeah, that's true.
steel.
Yep.
That's the only one I can
Yep.
think of though.
And like they love
ED
2 button
Contagion.
build so much they just got to put 2 skills in one just to make sure more people play it.
Yeah.
Like trick them. It's 1 skill gem, 2 presses.
Just trick them.
But two
Aha.
buttons.
We gotcha.
I was gonna
I don't
say,
know,
I
I feel
can't wait
like,
to be Zeus.
the blazing lance, the fire spear thing, if it doesn't do damage quickly enough, and depending on how many you can put down, if you can only have one down at a time, I'm not gonna use that because like that's not enough AoE for me. I'd be like, okay, as long as the monster stays right there and go, and oh, it's over there now. Okay, well, shoot.
Yikes! There he is. Oh yeah.
There was discussion about how the previous bosses or like area bosses were based on just like reskinning an existing monster and then just giving it some skills. And this time, like with PoE2, they're actually taking care to design the boss encounters and making them like very unique to themselves. I just want to say, what do you guys think of that? I'm sure it's probably going to be positive.
I love it. I love it. They look so cool. I want the bosses to look scary and not just like, you know, Goat Man, but bigger, you know?
That's very scary. What do you mean?
Honestly, it is kind of scary, especially if you think about the implications of what Goatmen do.
Ground and goes boom.
Does he?
Yeah. Oh, that. No, I mean even like more like the mini bosses, not like.
Yeah, it's nice that all of them feel like as scary as Gravy does, like all of the unique ones.
Old mate with his Gravy like rocks and that fall out of the cave and open up the light thing.
That's really cool. I thought it was interesting though that they mentioned like you can stay in the light and then the rocks won't fall on you, and the player character didn't do that, and I was like, I want to see that the rocks don't fall on you when you're in the light.
They're just gonna make sure you do it anyways.
Yeah, this is trickery.
You're like, I'm gonna have to test this out.
I'm just happy because it's the right type of dynamic arena, like not Cyrus Storms. Like this is what we're talking about for like arena interactions. Like
that, that's true.
That's the good stuff. More of that.
Good.
I was reminded of the changes to Val Oversoul because he's got falling rocks, but I'm still really not sure what to do about them.
Yeah, just run in a circle. Falling rocks, but they feel like they come from nowhere because you have no sense of the ceiling. They feel like they come from nowhere.
I'm like, I'm not quite sure where to stand to not get hit by them. Not that I'm trying to stand still. I do run around like a headless chicken, but
just run in a circle around them. I'm telling you, 98% of the bosses in this game are just running in a circle. I swear.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's like, well, it makes sense for 98% of all bosses. How do you beat them? Flank them. Right?
Yeah, you just...
Like, it all makes sense.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll make it harder to cheese with running in a circle. But
it's not like a design flaw of theirs, right? It's just the way a lot of bosses are.
No, that's just how the world is. That's how I deal with my problems. I just
get them at their back.
Run around them.
Just
get them when they're not looking.
But I do think the act, like the Val Oversoul, if there were shadows showing the rocks, but everything's so dark, kind of like what BK was saying, like Act 1, it's so dark you can't even like, it all looks okay because there's not the shadow and light play, so it'll be really cool.
Don't get me wrong, like the graphics and, you know, the first act that we saw looked amazing, but it wasn't, you know.
There's no light.
Is it because
you can't see shit when there's no light?
You know?
Is it because we get a lot of like, so what we got in Act 1, we saw a bit of in their first presentation, so now it's Lester is a little gone?
Well, it also seems like the tone of that act is a lot of undead, kind of darker, moody, woody things, which it would be interesting to see more light play if there's lots of trees and stuff, but I don't really remember like a ton of
I don't think you can really compare interior decoration by zombies to like the Mariketh, who are just extra.
Yeah,
like the way they get everything decorated is just very extra. So I mean, it looks good.
I mean, the zombies don't really care for their decor, is the point, right?
Yeah, like, they're like, it's a tomb. There's a sarcophagus, man. Like, I don't know.
What if they care a lot, right? They're just trying to put this vase in the right corner, so you're like, look at my vase.
Well, you know I gotta smash it.
I'm gonna smash that face. Oh, you had nothing in it. You're trash.
Look, I grew up on Zelda games. I will smash
Yeah.
all your vases, bitch. I do
Smashing
not
your
care.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into their decor. It's just terrible because
A
they're
lot of
zombies.
a lot of the focus of the first one too was like, look how good this fucking lighting looks. Like that was a
True.
big overtone of the first one too, because that was
Mhm.
The
when they changed like
grass.
the entire light
It was about the
rigging and
grass.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yo, grass is
New
exciting.
grass technology, folks.
So maybe it's prettier than we remember. We were just too observant.
I
Did you
I
guys
must admit,
think it was
though,
just flashier?
I've been subject to the like notion of lawn culture and how it's kind of shit. So now when they talk about grass technology, I'm like, in lawn culture.
Lawn culture, like in King of the Hill, like lawn
Yeah,
culture.
basically, like people who
Really?
are
Yeah.
obsessed with lawns, which is a
Uh-huh.
huge waste of water
Uh-huh.
and completely unproductive.
I will
Waste of
fill my
space.
lawn with rocks before I get into lawn culture. Wait, what? I thought that was
Yeah.
like a King of the Hill joke. I didn't think that was a real thing that people
you've-
did.
The King of
Yeah,
the
no,
the
I
joke
grew
is
up in a
based on
neighborhood
reality.
That like
yeah, I didn't think
these
that
people
was
would be like,
true
your
because
lawn
it was
is too long.
Texas.
Yeah,
lawns
no,
are
no.
lawns
Have
are like a
lawns?
construction of society, and they like so stupid.
Just a societal construct.
I
dude.
like that it's so crazy to you that you thought it was accurate because it took place in Texas.
Listen, I believe Boomhauer. Okay, I believe Dale.
That
Okay,
alone is
Dale
hilarious.
is a real
Like, no,
guy.
we're fucking this crazy everywhere, but yeah, like that's just
Listen,
great.
I just thought it was a Texas thing, all right? Like, I don't know. I'm not from Texas. Okay. Most of our lawns are covered with snow 6 months of the year. It's not like we see them, right? Like,
Yeah,
Actually, the
people be weird
person
about
that
it.
comes to mind that I think of like is the most into lawns that I know is a Canadian.
really?
Wait, hold on. You have someone that comes to mind when you
Wait.
think of being into
I'm not gonna
lawn
call. I'm not
obsessed.
gonna call anybody out here.
Yeah, no, you don't have to drop
But
any
yeah.
names. We're not trying to.
Hey, lawn obsession guy, drop your own name. I want to know where you at, where you live. I never see my. Okay, well, to be fair, I live in an apartment, but when I didn't see my lawn a lot, so I don't see. There's a lot of snow on the ground, covered it up most of the time.
The thing is, lawns. We have lawns here because the British brought them over, and what? Well, I mean, like we have grass, but the grass that's native to Australia is not lawn grass.
They
Do
brought
you
their
guys
damn lawns.
bring your own?
But like, we
Special
have a
lawn
drought
grass?
like most of the time in this country. Droughts are not
Yeah.
conducive to having lawns.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about them coming over with patches of grass. Like, bro, we're bringing our lawns over right now.
Dude, people do that.
I think what
Yeah.
happened was they brought seeds over.
Seeds make more sense. I'm thinking about full on like rolls of
Okay.
grass.
There's advertisements right now when I watch Hulu that are like, there's a product called Sunday, and it's like all of your lawn's nutrition in a bag that you attach to your hose on Sundays, and like it's like the Church of Middle-Aged Men Lawn Care Gods. Like it's. It is like so depressing. I've never been more depressed by a commercial in my life. And this is like in comparison to like the sad like Arms of an Angel like orphan
Yeah.
kitten videos.
Those men care a lot about their lawns.
Oh my goodness.
It's
I'm not
literally
sorry
a
that I
product.
mentioned
You can
this at
look. It's
all.
called Sunday. It's so weird.
Dude, new headcanon. They were lawn obsessed in Act 1, which caused a drought, which led to the desert of Act 2. This is
Clearly,
Yeah,
this
the
is the
explanation.
real lore.
Yeah.
I'm crying again. I feel like we should. Okay. I think we've talked enough do you guys want to end with some closing thoughts? Either Ultimatum, PoE2, anything that you want to like say before we wrap up the episode, and then we can carry on with the lawn culture.
I'm gonna be Zeus in PoE2. Yes, just throwing lightning spears everywhere. Woo! I'm so ready. That's
Okay.
all I have.
That's a big
I would
cheer.
like to say, just because he calls himself Chaos doesn't mean it's not Doriani. I'm gonna prove it. Just you wait. Just
He might be
everybody
wearing a
hold your
mask.
horse.
I'm a little
I
bit
believe it.
persuaded.
What?
He might be wearing a mask that looks like Chaos. That might not be his face.
That's
Yeah,
not
he's
his
definitely
face.
wearing a mask. I'm on the case.
think
I'm gonna
No, that's his
Scooby Doo this
face.
shit. We're gonna take
That's
off
his
the
face.
mask. Who is behind it?
Take off the mask. It's just that face again. Jesus.
I wasn't ready for this.
All right. BK, closing note.
Really excited that we get another boss league without it being like boss centric. Like it's
Yeah.
got kind of a cross between both, and I like it. It's neat. It's cool. It feels like a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, my closing notes are going to be there are some intense quality of life. I am ready to enjoy the quality of life. And yeah, I'm ready to wrap up this podcast. So thank you for watching all the way to the end. I guess we got you hook, line, and sinker. And we'll see you next time.